And we are on day 4. Day 4, y'all. We got a lot to do today, y'all, so let's get started. First, we are on our way to a rum tasting. But the rum tasting doesn't open yet, so we just took a couple pictures and signed up to make sure we were on time. And here I am, feeling myself with my family. But we go ahead and move, and there was Chefette to the chocolate factory. They said they were closed online, but actually they're open, but actually they're closed, so we could look inside. I ended up getting some ice cream because I was like, before we drink, I'm going to need something to eat. This is a lot of history of the cocoa plant, and not too many people in there, but then we jump into the rum tasting where we're a little bit late, but that's okay. We in here. I'm over here admiring all the liquor because when I go on vacation, that's what I buy. I have a foreign bar, and you already know I'm not leaving here without buying a couple of these bottles. So here we go. We going upstairs. He going over the history, and we actually got to go ahead and actually watch a movie before we get started. He was talking about pouring, if nobody can finish their drink, they can pour it in that one right there called the drink of shame. Then he was explaining that there's some legs on the glass when you spin it accordingly. And I was spinning, and I was like, I don't see it, but let's go. Here we go. We about to get our drink on, and cheers. Look at us, the three musketeers. We about to get it started. So as we go ahead and do our cheers, there's my first drink, second drink, third drink, oh Lord, fourth drink, oh my goodness, fifth, sixth. I'm gonna have to go ahead and pretend on this next one. Ooh, that's a little too strong, but here we go again. There I go, and I start to get that's so Raven Eye. Y'all already know. Look. And the tour guide gonna say, how you doing back there? I said, back where? He said, how you doing on your first day? I said, first day? On a job? This is how y'all getting down on the job? You know me, I start telling jokes. That one right there. Yeah, I said, oh no, I don't know. I didn't even know y'all had jobs like this. Maybe I need to rethink about my life. You know what I mean? So I can really enjoy my life the way I should really be living it.
Drinking on the job.
Here we are. He closing the tour. I said, I need to touch bases with that kid over there because he looks so young. I said, man, how many tours you did? He said, this is his third tour. I said, third tour? Oh my goodness. I don't know if I could just keep drinking like that on a job, because you got to try it with the rest of the people every single time. I'm like, one enough is good enough for me. But anyways, this is a $400 bottle. I said, you know what? I know y'all have bar food. What's this? He gave me some I don't know. It looked like gooseberries or something.
I never had.
Ain't no popcorn. Look at my face. Yeah. That's what that looked like. Anyways, I don't know. Your phone be doing stuff like that sometimes. Phones be messing up your pictures. Here I am admiring the scenery. This is so pretty, but we're going to have to move around, okay? Because I'm hungry. Once I start drinking, we're going to have to get off the couch and get some food. So we go ahead and move around. I'm trying to get some air, and we are at this restaurant with all of these flags. I get so excited when I see all these flags, so I had to find someone. I'm like, who's here? I don't see nobody. First guy I see around the corner, I ask him, is this an international food court? What is this with all these flags? Does that mean there's a whole bunch of different food here? I'm a foodie, so I was like, I'm going to have to ask some questions. But also, do y'all have rude boys? Because that's my favorite thing out here. And I'm going to need as many as I can. So I asked this guy right here. I was like, look, what kind of restaurant is this? He said, this is a Guyanese restaurant. I said, Gaya who? Do you know Ivan Satima? Anyways, if y'all don't know who Ivan Satima is, go look up your history. So anyways, I was trying to give him some history on his history, but he probably know more history than I do. But anyways, I started looking at the menu, and look at that. Is that shark? What else was on the menu? Anyways, I was recommended this roti. It was delicious. There's my rude boy. And a bonus, my driver found the other baobab tree because there's only 2 out here. So I was like, but I knew the other one was kind of like, in the middle of traffic. Here we are at Chuka Chuka Village. Chuka Chuka Village is where we are about to do the Harrison Cave. This is actually one of the biggest, best, I think, thing to do on the island. So we're going to jump in here. We ain't leaving without doing the best. If they say it's the best, we got to figure out why it's the best. I'm over here looking around. I said, ooh, this is giving Tiki Hut. It's giving Chuka Chuka Village. I started talking to the tour guide, and she had me cracking up. She was telling me jokes. She was like, girl, yeah, get your drink. I'm going to wait for you. I was like, yeah, girl, please wait for me. So, just trying to, chop it up and make jokes and all that. You know me. Everywhere I go, I got to bring the vibe. This is the inside of Chuka Chuka Village. It's so pretty. I was like, oh, I don't think we have time to do that. Plus, the weather kept raining up and down. So I'm over here looking around, and look at that poof on my head, y'all. Look at that. I said, what is this, a cloud? Is this a cloud on my head just sitting on top of my head? Girl, I couldn't be no cafeteria nurse, but you already know. Look,
I'll eat all the food.
And here we are, another movie, but this time we didn't get to finish it all because I don't know. I guess it just got started early or something like that. So here we are. We jumping back onto we on the tram now. Now we going into the cave, and here we go. I'm so excited. Somebody always got their ass in the air. Anyways, moving along. We in the dark, and I'm like, okay, I got a little hard hat, so you already know I'm feeling. Ooh, I feel like Bob the Builder today. We doing it. We doing it. Here we are going in the cave. How deep? I didn't even ask how deep we going into this cave. How long is the cave? We going an hour in a cave? Oh my God. Anyways, I was like, maybe I can find some artifacts or something like that. So I started looking around, and yeah, it's real dark. So I was trying to rely on other people's camera light and stuff like that so we could see, because everybody had their flash on and stuff. And I was like, I can't really put my flash on and record. Can I put my flash on and record? Yeah, I guess you can. I don't know. But anyways, here we are, and I'm looking around, and yeah, I was like, damn, in some weird way, I was like, maybe I'll find some people down here. Maybe some aboriginals. You be thinking all type of shit when you in the dark. Like this. You be like, ooh, is that a waterfall? A waterfall? Can I drink that water? What happened if I drink that water? Am I gonna die if I drink that water? Actually, don't water come from the mountains? This is probably the purest form of water that they have.
So fresh and so
I don't
clean,
know,
clean.
but oh, so pretty. We finally got to get out and stretch our feet a little bit, walk around in this little area, and they turned off the lights. She trying to play a game, talk about this is what
Turn
it looks
that
like.
light on, girl.
Turn the lights on.
Where the lights?
Look, hills have eyes and shit. This is just like The Descent. I was like, girl, we don't play
with
around
your
and
mama.
shit like
Don't
this.
play with me.
And they have COVID starting with them bats and stuff. Don't be turning off no
I don't know these people.
lights. By the way, I haven't seen an animal insect yet, so I don't know what that's about. Don't insects and animals live in the cave? Haven't heard an echo or nothing. Yeah, so I'm looking around. Those look like crystals. Are those crystals? You know what, y'all? This ain't Aladdin or nothing, but the times is different. I see why Abu had that twinkle in his eye. Shit, they was struggling back then. I was like, let me just get one of these and see how much one of these sell on the black market, because y'all, I can't be passing up money. If I see money, I might have to take this hard hat off and get up in there. That's a waterfall. I was like, ooh, but I think we're going to try to get to a cave tomorrow that we can actually swim in. So this not the one though, y'all. Wait, I did see something flying. You saw that? I don't know. There's my mama admiring the beautiful landscape. We finally out that cave, y'all. Took some pictures by another tree. This looked like a weeping willow or something, but we saw some swings. We definitely got some pictures in right there, because you can't pass up a swing. You see a swing, you got to do it. This is the Chuka Chuka little pool. We started taking some more selfies over there where I'm learning more about the history of the land, and there's some cows. Look, a cow. Look how close that cow is to my head, y'all. My head is out the car, and I can almost look. Here goes some more animals. I love the animals on the island. There go the little Billy Goat's Gruff. I said, I don't think I've ever seen a brown one. But, he said these are native to Barbados. So I said, oh my gosh. And I could not stop looking. I was like, look at them crossing the street like a whole bunch of kids. Get it? Kids. Anyways, so we going around this corner. I said, dang, these roads are so narrow. I don't even understand how a car could. But yeah, the cars is real close. You could touch it. If you stick your hand out the window, it might get ripped off. So we driving more to the, I don't know. I don't even know where we going, y'all. I'm just riding. Oh, we're going to the beach. Here I am at the beach. I started seeing a whole bunch of crabs on these rocks. There were so many, you can't really pick them up on the camera. But here we are admiring the sunset. This is definitely on my bucket list. There's no way I'm leaving anywhere without seeing the sunset, especially if we somewhere else. And that man's not a corn man. That man a drink man. But he riding alongside of us. That's cool. It's getting dark and stuff. We somewhere we ain't never been before. So we going to find a bar. We go up to this one bar where, things are just, this is kind of slow. So we kind of get up out of there. We see a Cafe Luna. And I was like, ooh, let's go. So we go to Cafe Luna with some food. But I guess, my sister was telling me that people pay for the table for the day. So as we were looking around, I was like, okay, I guess this is what it looks like when it's full. The man started talking to me, telling me we had some edible flowers. And this is a really high scale restaurant. So all the drinks was real high scale. It was really nice. So I said, I'm gonna go ahead and try this edible flower, right? But y'all know edible don't mean sweet. So when I took a bite, I was like, where's this man at? Where is this man at? And when I caught him, I said, man, this flower is not good. He started making jokes and stuff, and he was like, where your party at and stuff.
Let's
So
block back to that edible flower. Okay, I'm hungry and y'all said it was edible. Anyways, we closing tonight. That's it for day 4, y'all. We going to sleep.
it's a wrap.